I knew the core of the sun would be hot, but this is ridiculous. I knew the core of the sun would be hot, but this is ridiculous.
While she's getting over a sunburn, but when he wakes up hungover, he finds that she's also cheating on him with a different blonde stranger named Dan. Is this important to the overall trip? No. Is it important to me that you knew this? Yes. Anyways, I ordered the fish and chips. Margaritaville has so much fried fish and shrimp on the menu that I thought I should definitely try their fish and chips because it must be a flagship dish for them. As we waited for our food, I ordered a watermelon margarita that was way too sweet. I also mentioned a stage at the last Margaritaville where it looked like live music could be played. That was happening here, which was kind of nice to hear just somebody play live music in a chain restaurant. Finally, my fish and chips arrived, and these look like frozen fish fillets to you, right?
Hey, Eddie, I cooked those up in my microwave the other day.
They tasted okay, and we had a fun time just chatting and drinking over dinner. We seemed to be in the most Texas corner of the entire restaurant. It had the two things that Texas is famous for: cattle and a big old puddle next to your table. When you see a big old puddle, you know you're in Texas. After finishing dinner, we decided to stroll around an even bigger puddle, the San Antonio River, but not before Ted gracefully took a seat in this big Margaritaville chair. And honestly, after it was just a really nice time strolling around this area. I remember liking this last year, but for some reason I associate it with something negative. And I can't quite put my finger on what it was, but honestly, I'm having such a good time that it doesn't even matter anymore. Alright, I think it's time to head to bed for the night. Okay, day 4 of the trip, and we're headed from Austin, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. And as we made our way across Texas, we decided to stop at Buc-ee's. If you're unaware of what Buc-ee's is, it is a chain of absolutely massive gas stations. It is chaotic in there, but people love it. They make their own food inside, they have their own merch. People lose their mind for Buc-ee, but to be honest, he kind of creeps me out a little bit. And some of these Buc-ee's are so big, busy, and frantic that as a child, you could easily get lost. Buc-ee's nuts. Ted. Did I say child? Because I meant adult. I have lost Ted. I am not freaking out, and Buc-ee doesn't scare me, but yeah, where is Ted? I can't find Ted. All I can find is everything Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's rubs, Buc-ee's nuts, Buc-ee's pillows, Buc-ee's blankets, Buc-ee's onesies. This place is so big, I'm never gonna find him. I'm gonna be stuck in this Buc-ee's forever. I'm gonna have to move in with Buc-ee. He's gonna be my roommate. Where is Ted? Oh, he's just at the checkout aisle. Whew. Crisis averted. We also ran into this dude Braden who had met us last year while we were on the trip for the Rainforest Cafes because he watches our videos. What are the odds that we see the same guy in a different part of Texas 1 year later for this trip? After our stop at Buc-ee's, we drove all the way to New Orleans. No Margaritaville this night, so we went out on Bourbon Street and had some drinks and a good time. I didn't record a lot because I just wanted to focus on relaxing and having a good time, so we will see you tomorrow. Hitting the road today is special because for the first time on the trip, Ted and I are headed to stay at our first Margaritaville hotel. This one was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we were shocked pulling into the parking lot. Before us was a massive building right on the water of the Gulf of Mexico. But Ted needed the room to get some work done, so I decided to explore and see what this whole place was all about. And as I headed up the escalator in the main part of the building, I was met with one of the largest arcades I'd ever seen in my life. They had everything: rock climbing, zip lines, bowling, and even the globally known and incredibly popular game, Stinky Feet. Apparently, this place used to be a failed Margaritaville casino that was converted into a family resort, which would explain the giant arcade floor. And as I explored a bit more and saw a pool and a theme park attached, I started to realize just how many Jimmy Buffett quotes echoed throughout the halls. They were on screens, in elevators, near the pool. I caught people talking about Jimmy to each other and to me. The quotes were all about living his lifestyle, and it started to feel like I'd booked a one-night stay into a Jimmy Buffett cult. After that, I met up with Ted
I didn't
to
do
go to
any
dinner,
practice
which was located
at all.
above the
I'm so
arcade
fucked.
next to the volcano rock climbing wall. The menu was different here with a flaming crawfish dip that Ted and I really enjoyed. And I didn't really want another fried meal, but this was Mississippi and they had a catfish platter, so I went for it. And it was pretty good, but I really should have listened to my gut on this one because this fried food so frequently is starting to kill me. Then suddenly, an alarm went off. The room turned red and the volcano began to smoke. Like that time Justin Bieber used a smoke machine on his fans. It continued on for a while until the smoke stopped.
That's good, that's good,
and
that's good.
This happened.
Say that. I can save it.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck?
Saved it.
Then after our meal, we hit the arcade.
Alright, Ted, go easy on him. Ted, go easy on him. Ted.
And just before the whole thing closed, I played one final game of the world-famous Stinky Feet. The thing is, you need 2 players to play Stinky Feet, and Ted was busy on another game. So I charged my card twice and decided to play by myself. When a child no older than 4 walked up, grabbed the water gun, and started playing next to me without saying a word.
No! How? How does that happen? How does that happen?
Fierce battle, I won. I beat the child. I am the king of Stinky Feet. Today started.
How does that happen?
Margaritaville in Destin, Florida. Now this Margaritaville was directly on the water. Unlike, say, the one at Universal City Walk, this one was not themed to be on a beach. It just actually was on a beach. Our lunch here was going to be my first of 2 Margaritaville
Fuck you,
meals
I'm
of the
getting
day.
this.
I got an Uptown Margarita, even though I'm getting pretty tired of having sweet cocktails so often. And also got the jerk salmon.
Fuck you.
The drink was fine, and the salmon was actually pretty good, especially after a bunch of days of fried and road trip food. The view of our meal also featured a bunch of weird boats. That was just really fun for me to see a lot of boats that look like they're not supposed to be on the water. We then paid the check and got ready to drive just an hour and a half before we had another Margaritaville meal in Panama City Beach. The PCV location was at this.
Gimme!
Eat a meal at the same restaurant in a different location. The interior was pretty big and elaborate compared to some we had seen, but the place was super busy, so Ted and I opted to sit at the bar. I was still so full from the salmon, but I decided to get a chicken quesadilla Ruby Red Renegade for my cocktail. Why did I choose it? Because the name of the vodka in it was called Deep Eddy, and that's my name, so I got it. Even though we were both full and exhausted, at least Ted and I had a perfect view of a very blue-tinted TV screen that exclusively showed Jimmy Buffett's Instagram posts, and boy does this guy know how to post. You had to kind of squint to see what the pictures were because the tint of the TV screen was so
25 volts
blue.
TV is
This
dead
guy's
because I was
fucking
too
for
busy
free.
fucking
Jimmy, you are a celebrity.
hyperventilating.
You can charge for those puppies.
But
Then we
holy
headed to the beach
fuck,
to see the
man.
sunset.
What was that?
This was absolutely beautiful. I had a great time wiggling my toes in the sand and staring at the sunset. But you don't get to see my toes because you didn't pay me. In the last 6 days, we had driven over 35 hours and over 2,000 miles. And my stomach was absolutely full of 2 Margaritaville meals. But either way, I couldn't deny that this trip had brought me to such a beautiful spot. Ted and I were even
Give me
lucky
perfect
enough to
RNG.
see dolphins out there swimming
Square,
in the
carrot,
water.
squiggle.
I don't think
Square,
the dolphins
carrot,
saw
squiggle,
us, but
motherfucker.
if they did
Square,
and are
carrot,
watching this,
squiggle.
you saw my
Square,
toes
carrot,
for free
squiggle.
and
Square.
you owe me money. The drive today
got a
was
carrot?
a big one, going from Panama City Beach to Hollywood Beach, Florida. And I'll be honest, it was pretty taxing. Not only was it a 9-hour drive, but we had multiple stretches of heavy rain. Well, I'm from Florida, and the rain isn't such a big deal. Shut up.